All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome, welcome. Good evening or good morning, depending, I guess, wherever you are in the world. But thank you for being here on this fine Tuesday evening. Now, today we're going to be doing a top five or just five favorite films from the 1970s. So I'm super excited for this stream. Should be a fun time, and I'm not alone. I do have some really cool dudes waiting for me in the backstage, so I'm gonna bring them in one at a time. And I'll start with Vin. So what's going on, man?
Yeah, happy to be here. And I feel like I haven't streamed with you in a while, but we used to back in the day, but it's been a while.
Yeah, definitely, man. I think the last stream we did was, I want to say it was the October recommendations, maybe a year ago. So I think that was like the last time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a little bit, but always fun to hop on live and just talk about movies. We were talking about it backstage a minute ago, just the fun of getting together with some buddies and just talking about films. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's my second favorite thing to do. First is watching movies. Second would be talking about them. So
Okay.
looking forward to it. And we'll bring on our second guest, Mike. What's up, man?
Really cool, Mike, as you introduced us. So I have this hat to keep me nice and warm because it's very cold over here. So very excited for this festive stream of the 70s tonight.
I'm
Yes,
jealous of
sir.
that hat. I'm jealous of that hat, man.
Mm-hmm.
Love the
Physical
spirit,
media
man. Love the
clause
spirit.
is here.
Well, I for one am very excited for this Christmas, so I love to see it. But yeah, thanks for joining, guys. First of all, let me just real quick also just shout out everyone in the chat. Thanks for being here, everybody. Appreciate you guys joining us, and feel free to drop in the comments. What are some of your favorite movies from the 70s? We're going to be sharing our five. So I just want to also preface this by saying, so my list is not going to be a top five per se, as in number one is my absolute favorite. I was just telling these guys backstage how any given day my number one could move to number three, my number five could shift over to number one. It's just a top five overall. So I don't know how you guys have a way you're gonna go about this. Do you guys gonna kind of play it the same way, Vin? You want to just share how you're gonna do it?
Um, I I really do appreciate the 70s. It's one of my favorite decades. I might even it's hard to say, but I might even take it over the 80s. 90s has so much. It's difficult, but I don't think I'm gonna present them in a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 like ranked order. I think that I'm gonna play off you guys because if you guys pull a great 70s film, I'm gonna not pull it and talk about a different film. So maybe we can talk about more movies for in that way. So I got my five, but if you guys pull something that I have in my top five, I'm gonna sub it out. I'm gonna pull something different. I got a lot of movies on standby, so we'll see how it goes.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. I'm looking forward to checking out your picks because I know you got a lot of film knowledge there, film background. So I know you watch a lot of those old classics and things like that. So I'm looking forward to your picks.
70s is about as far back as I dig. Sometimes like 50s and 60s, like it's too, I don't vibe with those decades as much. But 70s and beyond is where I start to really appreciate a little bit more. Like,
For
you
sure.
know,
Gotcha. How about you, Mike? You got any particular way you're gonna go about this?
Yeah, so my list is the correct list. It's a definitive list. If you don't have my choices, you are completely wrong. You're going to end up on the naughty list. So, yes, you can look forward to that. Just joking, everybody. But yeah, my five here are not my top five favorites of all time. If you want to see my favorites, I did a ranking video way back when for like 1570s movies. But these are five choices that are a little controversial. You guys know I like to stir the pot just a little bit, maybe get a rant or two going here. But there's some sequels in here. There's maybe some little combo and cheating. Maybe I'll pull two movies at once for one spot. You guys don't know what's going to happen tonight. It's going to get wild in here. So that's what you can expect tonight. Some really fun surprises.
Well, there you go, guys. You heard it here first. I mean,
My
put your kids to bed. Don't. We might get a little crazy up in here, but shouting out the chat real quick. Thank you guys. Holland, what's up, man? Thanks for being here. Like always, appreciate you. And Corey, what's up, man? He was on one of these. Also, we did the 50s one together. That was fun. And Steve, Yeah, man, Steve. I was looking forward to having him on here, but unfortunately, he had some things to take care of, which all good, understandable. But gonna catch the replay.
That's okay. I have a Steve replacement. This will be Steve Jr. tonight. There we go.
And just saying what's up to everybody. Okay, cool. So I guess without further ado, we can kick it off. Um, does anybody want to go first? Maybe a volunteer, or what do you guys think?
I could kick it off.
All right, cool. Vin, so I guess you're number 5, but not really your number 5, right?
Yeah, just the first film that we're going to talk about, and I think I'm going to steal this from one of you guys, and that's the fun of the night. I'm going to pull Rocky.
Nice.
I know you guys love Mike. I know you love Rocky. Eddie, I'm not sure if I've ever heard you talk about Rocky, but I'm assuming you enjoy it to an extent.
Yeah, that's how I'd put it. I'd put it that way. Yeah.
But yeah, fantastic film. Very rewatchable. When I was trying to go through this list and pick the top 5, for me, it was like, what's something that I'm okay with watching with every year, like an annual type watch? And Rocky kind of fits that bill. All the films in my top 5 fit that bill, where there's plenty of films that I absolutely love in the 70s, but like I'm okay watching them like once every 5 years or whatever. Like Rocky, I'm good with watching annually. And it's not just a sports movie. It's really a love story between Adrian and Rocky. That's like what I love about it so much. Every character is fully fleshed out. It has a fantastic soundtrack, fantastic underdog story. You can't go wrong with Rocky. Iconic piece of 70s media. So yeah, Rocky easily is going to be talked about tonight, I'm sure, by all of us. But yeah, I'm going to pull Rocky for my first one.
Yeah, Steve agrees with you there. I mean, I'm not mad at you for pulling Rocky, man. I mean, it's a classic for good reason.
Speak for yourself, Eddie. If you don't mind me jumping in here, and just piggybacking off a little bit.
Go ahead, man.
I love the
what are your
Rocky
thoughts on Rocky?
franchise. I love the Rocky franchise. That is my most watched franchise of all time. I watch it 2 to 3 times a year, every Rocky movie, including the Creed movies as well. So I love this franchise. But I'm going to give a hot take right here. This might get a little spicy, and I'm going to remove my first choice just so we can have a little hot take. So I was going to pull Rocky 2 for my first choice. I'm not going to do that anymore. But Rocky 2 is the superior film. It's like Rocky 1, but more entertaining. So I like Rocky 1. It's a good drama. Like you said, we got a romance in there that's a little creepy and awkward, especially once he gets into the house. He kind of forces himself on her. I don't like that. That doesn't keep up to today. So a little nasty there at that point. But Rocky 2, like I said, is the better movie overall. It's more intense. I love kind of the fallout from the first one. And this sums up the first one in like the beginning 10 minutes anyway. So who needs the first one, right? But the match in here is a lot better. And spoiler alert, you actually have Rocky win this match. In the first movie, Rocky doesn't win. Rocky is a loser in the first one, unfortunately. He gives it his best, but he loses. This one, you see his triumphant victory. And I just think this is a better one. I love Creed calling him out, calling him chicken, and then he has to run around, catch a chicken, and then all that. You actually have the proposal in here. They get married. They got a baby. You got his like failed advertisement scenes happening that are kind of hilarious. So overall, in terms of an entertainment value standpoint, I rather watch Rocky 2 more than Rocky 1. Once again, all the Rocky movies are amazing, but I think Rocky 2 is just a little bit better. So there you go. That's my spiciness for tonight. Like I said, I didn't have Rocky 1 in my pile, Vin, so I kept true to that.
Well, Rocky 2 being better than Rocky 1 is only mildly spicy because Rocky 2 is damn good, but it's not as good, in my opinion, as the OG Rocky. Yeah, he was a little bit. I think Adrian needed that little push to get over her insecurity. He showed her the turtles. I mean, he went.
He showed her something. He for sure showed her something.
He went to that pet shop. They make it seem like he went to that pet shop like every week for months and years on end. So he put in the time.
So he stalked properly, is what you're saying. He put in the time to the stalking.
Sometimes a man needs to take the lead, and Rocky went ahead and did that. And the scene where he does lose the fight, but I don't mean, I don't think that's a bad thing for the film. He does lose the fight, but as soon as he loses, he doesn't care that he lost the fight. Immediately, he's calling for Adrian, and it's just that's what makes it so powerful. And I kind of don't like how they made him super dumb in part 2. Like he was always kind of low education, but like you said, the ad scenes, like they're fun and they're comical. It's fun to watch them, but it's like, yeah, as a standalone piece of cinema, that first one, it's hard to beat.
Yeah, I mean, you both make great arguments. I mean, I don't know. To be honest, I've only seen both of those one time, which I believe was either a year or two ago. So I didn't grow up with those or anything, so I don't really have like a dog in the fight or anything. No pun intended. But I mean, I think from what I remember, I enjoyed part one a little more. Like it wasn't really about him winning, like y'all said. It was Vin alluded to this, it being more of a love story and just like in a way, like just studying his character and his arc and everything. So I kind of appreciated that.
But
So
the montage, Eddie, the montage. You got all the kids running behind Rocky in the second one. Like that's an epic event right there.
yeah, I'm not
So
denying
good.
that. That's for sure. They're both good. They're both good. So
I love how the
um,
second one starts out right off the cusp of the first one, where you get the quick overview, like Mike was saying, and then it's like they're in the hospital. And the first thing that Rocky does is wheel himself into Apollo's hospital room and was like, "Did you give me your best?" And he was like, "Yeah, I did." So like right off the rip, it's like a perfect continuation. I love part 2. It's fantastic.
yeah. So I don't know.
Both
You
are
all got
good.
me
I
wanting
mean,
to
they're
read.
no Rocky 4, but that's an 80s stream conversation. But they're
Mhm.
both pretty good.
We'll, we'll circle back to that one on the next one. Well, you got Johnny here. What's up, man? Thanks for joining. And Tiana, hey there. Tiana and saying hi to everyone. All right. So number 5 with Rocky 2, right? Correct, Mike? That's your pick.
No, I said
Oh,
I pulled this out of my choices.
oh,
I didn't
okay.
want to do
Gotcha.
a repeat, and I know it's a different movie, but it's too similar. You know, we already talked Rocky movies, so
No
let's
worries.
pivot here. Let's pivot. Let's ooh, all right, okay. Like I said, I want to give recommendations. Maybe not everybody's seen, so let's start with The Taking of Pelham 123. Can be found on the Kino Lorber selection. This is a 4K right here. But this has a remake. Some people may have seen the remake with John Travolta. That's a really good remake, by the way. And usually I prefer remakes to movies. I love remakes, like you guys see. I love sequels too. I'm the sequel remake person. 9 times out of 10, I will go with those. But this is the 1 time out of 10 where I say the original is actually better. But pretty much, have you guys seen this movie at all? The Taking of Pelham 123, either the remake or the original?
I feel like I've seen the remake with Travolta. I have not seen that one though.
Yeah, I've only seen the remake.
All right, so I like this one better because you have a group of people that take over the subway train. Instead of it just being one person like it is in the remake, you actually have a group of people, and so it kind of feels more like a heist movie almost, where you have these different, I guess, villains kind of playing off each other. They have dialogue back and forth. You're kind of trying to piece together, okay, who's like the smart one out of the group, who's the, who's going to be the risky one, and you see mistakes happen and all of that. And so to me, that's more entertaining than even the remake. Like I said, the remake's good, but I think this one is more entertaining start to finish. And when they do the phone calls into the office or the dispatch, whatever you want to call it, that's all really entertaining too. And then I won't say anything about the ending, but I was jaw dropped by the ending, not expecting it. So it gets pretty wild. So really like this one.
Yeah, gotta give that one a watch. I just like I said, I've only seen the remake, and that was a long time ago. Um, I need to give both a watch actually. So yeah. Um, who stars in that one? Is there like any like
Let's see.
well known names in that? Any like
So it's Walter Massey, Robert Shaw, Martin Basson, Hector Elizondo. See, I don't know these names. I don't know these.
okay,
I'm
yeah,
terrible with actor names, by the way. Um, but yeah,
mhm.
like I said, I think this one is really darn good, especially if you like those kind of heist movies,
Yeah, I love that.
thrillers, edge of your seat kind of movies. This is what this delivers. So very good in that regard.
All right,
Yeah.
well, I think sounds good, man. That sounds got to give that one a watch. And Steve just real quick shares his top 5 before he goes, and he's got Superman, Halloween, Godfather, Jaws, and Star Wars at number 1.
All right, well, Steve takes stuff out of the pile. Bye-bye, Superman. You're gone. It's gone. Star Wars. Just throw my little Star Wars VHS. They're gone.
Throw them out. Get them out of here.
I get them
No
out of here.
duplicates.
That's how it works.
Collective Movie Man in here. What's going on, man? Thanks for being here. And Holland says that you'll recognize a lot of faces in Pelham 1, 2, 3. Okay.
You'll
Cool.
recognize the faces. I just don't know the names. Like, I'm terrible with actor names.
Yeah, sometimes I'm really bad with names. I forget. All right. So cool. All right. So I guess my turn. And my number 5, like I said, in no particular order. This is going to be an extremely cliche pick, but you know what? I don't care. It's a classic for good reason. I watch it almost yearly for the last couple of years. I've been watching it yearly around this time of year in October. Pretty much you can see where this is going. And I'm just going to pull this heavy hitter. And I actually own 2 editions of this movie, so I'll pull them both. That's Halloween.
Halloween.
The slip and the steelbook. I'm lost here. There it is. So slip and the steelbook. But yeah, I just, despite the simplicity of this movie, I always notice something new every time I watch it. Especially recently, listening to the commentary with John Carpenter. It's just like the fact that it was so low budget, and the use of things like natural lighting, all that stuff. It's just super impressive, especially for the time. And I mean, what can I really say that hasn't been said, right, about this classic? But just an iconic character. What's not to love? It's one that I saw later in life. I saw it as an adult several years ago, and just immediately fell in love with it. And I've been adding it to the spooky season rotation. And yeah, I can see myself, showing it to my daughter, and just hopefully she loves it one day. So yeah, Halloween, the classic. What do you guys think about that one?
I gotta hear Vin's thoughts on this one. I don't know if I heard your take on Halloween yet.
So it's something that I'm compelled to watch annually, and I do. I watched it this past October, but what I was thinking when I watched it most recently was this: take the exact same film, but if you remove that iconic score, that Halloween score, that bump up bump up bump up, that it's a fantastic musical score. If you take that away, if they didn't hire that guy with that score, I should know who it is, but I don't. And you had Halloween, same exact film, but with a lesser score, it would have fallen into obscurity.
Wait, did you say you don't know who did the score?
Who did the score?
Isn't it? It's John Carpenter, right?
Did he do it?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you have me questioning it now,
No,
because
I'm
like, I thought
second-guessing
everybody
myself.
knew John Carpenter did the score. Am I taking crazy pills or what?
Yeah, I'm not a special features guy. I don't know, but
Okay. Yeah, the director
Who watches
did the
special
score.
features anyway?
That's impressive.
my
That's like
point
double
is
duty.
I think that the score of that film is so strong and so perfect that it elevates the film. And if it had a lesser score, it would have maybe fallen into obscurity, and we would have never gotten 19 sequels.
Ooh,
That's an interesting take. I can maybe see that. But that's just, it's part of the movie. I mean, it's like saying, like, if you were to remove like this main character, or if you were to remove this, like,
Michael Myers. What kind of movie you got?
I get what you're saying, but at the same time, like, it's just part of it. Like, I can't.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of it. So, like, you can't knock it. Like, it's part of the film.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying. It's like, okay, well, this actor had a fantastic performance. Without that fantastic performance, it wouldn't have been a film. But it just, it's so, when I watch the film, like, the music is so powerful that, like, I can't help but think, what would this film have been without the music? And for me, the music shouldn't be something that elevates the film to this crazy level. It should be more based off of plot or actors or things like that, where, sure, music is important, but when I watch that film, every time that score hits, those little scenes with Michael popping out behind this or that or doing his thing, it always has that score sometimes behind it. And it's like, without that score, I'm not sure if that would have hit like that. Like, I don't know.
Man, I'm supposed to be the ranty one. What's happening here? What's going on?
Hopefully, we're all still friends by the end of this stream.
Hey, like you
it's
said,
all in
it's part of the film, and that's why I still feel compelled to rewatch it like every year. But I just think that without that score by Carpenter, apparently, we might not have ever gotten all the sequels, and we might not have gotten a whole lot of other slashers that we got because it wouldn't have made the money it got, and it wouldn't have been as iconic. And look at Jason. Jason had, well, I guess he has the ha ha chi 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 thing, but he has no great score. You know, Freddy has no iconic music.
What are you talking about? Nightmare on Elm Street has an iconic score. What are you
Does it?
talking? Yes.
I don't
No,
know if it does.
When it goes
Halloween.
into the dream world.
Not like Halloween. Not like Halloween.
I mean, I
Yeah.
still prefer the Halloween one, but they all have their iconic scores. Come
It's
on.
like
man.
Halloween and then like everything else. Like
Wow.
I mean, yeah.
Scores cannot be trifled with.
So you're saying that you think that if it weren't for like the score, there wouldn't be as many sequels as well?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Wow. All right.
I mean, Donald Pleasance does a really good job. He's pretty iconic in that one, but again, he also is in some of the sequels, so that could be one of the reasons that he's so beloved now, today. So, I mean, fair point. That's fair.
I'm happy it has a strong score because we got a bunch of movies. Most of them aren't very good, but we did get a lot. But I do think the score is something that's quite prevalent for that Halloween film. That's all I'm saying. But I love Halloween film. I watch it every year, but
Yeah.
I can't help but think when I watch that score, man, it carries the film.
All right, I gotta step in here. This is too much right here. You're taking me back, Vin. Okay. So let me talk about the Halloween movie, the Halloween franchise, because it's my favorite horror franchise of all time. Without that franchise, I probably would not care for horror movies as I do now. I love the original Halloween. I usually watch it like every other Halloween. I'll switch back usually between that and a sequel like Halloween H2O, which is also brilliant. But Halloween is my fourth favorite movie of all time. So I love the Halloween movie. Now, the score is great, of course. The score is great, like we're saying. But if you remove the score, I still really love the plot and story of this movie. To me, it's the horror movie that really shows the boogeyman, right? The boogeyman story of this kind of lurking character that's, pops up. He's creeping around. You don't know how to stop the boogeyman. Like you get him and then he keeps coming after you. So it's always that evil kind of just lurking after you. And to me, that's why it was so unsettling. Yes, the score makes it even more unsettling, but just the creepy things he would do, right? Like when he knifes the guy and he like just turns his head a little bit, just like looking at a Picasso, like just some of the and I like when he pops out of the bush or he pops out behind the laundry, hanging, outside the window. It's very mysterious. It's very scary. You're like, I don't fully know what's happening with this character. And I love the opening. Oh my gosh. The first person perspective, putting on the mask. And you don't know. Like at first, you don't know it's a kid. And then when it's revealed that it's this little kid, you're like, oh my gosh, a kid just did that? Then me, when I first saw that the first time, I didn't know anything about it. That just blew my mind. I'm like, oh my gosh, this took the terror up to a new level. So I love just the whole direction of the movie. I love everything about the movie, including the score, except for a couple parts. I hate the ending. I don't like how you do see his face in the movie, just a glimmer when they briefly take off the mask for that one part and then he has to put it back in. You kind of see it in the shadows, right? I don't like seeing the face of Michael Myers as an adult. And then I don't like how he gets shot so many times, falls out of the house, and then he disappears at the end, right? So it leads up to a sequel. I'm like, why'd you have to shoot him so many times? At that point, it's completely fantasy. Where if you just shot him like one time, just one shot's good enough. You can still kind of play the balance beam where it's like, okay, is he really evil boogeyman, fantasy creature like, or is he a human that just got away with some terrible, right? You get what I'm saying? So I think there's too much shots there for the ending. But they had to go to a sequel, right? Like we said, there's a lot of sequels there. I actually wish they wouldn't have done sequels at all. Like if they did anthology stories, like they were kind of originally thinking about kind of what happened with Halloween 3, I think that would have been the better path for the Halloween franchise overall. Just different anthology stories, every single movie, right? We had our Michael Myers story. Now let's go to something different. So that's what I would like to see. But those are my 2 cents. I'm talking too much. Whatever. What do you guys think?
No, man, lots of good points. I appreciate your analysis on Halloween. Some interesting points there. But I mean, yeah, like I said, like you can't really deny, I mean, its impact that went on the slasher genre, kicking off that 80s slasher craze that I mean, I wasn't there to experience it, but just in retrospect, did a lot for the horror slasher subgenre. So yeah, no, I definitely get you. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of any of the sequels, to be quite honest. I enjoy 4 H2O, to an extent, but I'm not a huge fan of Halloween 2. I'm kind of with you there. I don't know if
I
any
don't like
sequels.
Halloween 2 at all. That's one of my least favorite Halloween movies. But why don't you like it? I gotta hear this.
I just don't think it really serves a purpose, to be honest. Like it doesn't really add anything, in my opinion. It's just like a continuation of a story that I wasn't really interested in hearing about. So yeah, I mean, and it's just basically takes. I like the one location aspect of it, but the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis is kind of just, I feel like she kind of regresses as a character. Um, she goes from this quiet kind of shy babysitter to, by the end she's protecting the kids and standing up for herself, but then in part 2 she's just basically immobile, laying in the hospital bed. So
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
really,
I like part 2 for the same reason Rocky part 2, like it picks up right where part 1 left off. And I think if I was going to rank the Halloween franchise, part 2 would actually be pretty high, because I think it gets pretty horrible when you get into that cult stuff, like part 4, 5, 6, where it's like just gets real goofy. And then they try to revamp it with H2O and they get back on track, but like 3 takes a break, and then 4, 5, and 6, they're bad. They're bad movies. They're bad
yeah.
movies. In my opinion.
I love 4. 4 so good. Come
Wait,
on.
is 4 where he's like with the cult curse thing?
No, that gets into 5 and 6 when it
5, 6,
starts getting
7,
into
maybe?
that.
5, 6,
Before
7.
With Danielle Harris, where she
7's H2O, yeah. Before has Daniel Harris in it, but it doesn't really get into the cult stuff. I think until
I think
really
the
the
cult
5th
trilogy
one.
is 5, 6, 7.
Well, 7's H2O, but I don't know. To me, I never saw 4 as it getting much into the cult stuff. To me, 4 was just kind of a remake of the original. So to me, it's the closest in terms of like original story. So.
All right, we're talking way too much
yeah,
about.
I was about to
I
say,
know this turned into a Halloween stream. I
I thought this was
apologize,
turning into,
audience. My love for Halloween, Eddie. This is what happens when you take a movie that everybody loves.
hey, I apologize, man. I seriously thought I was in a Halloween stream for a second there, but we'll keep it moving. That was a good conversation, though. Good points. I mean, I've never heard
I
some
know
of
I got
those.
to get my Halloween mask lying around here somewhere.
And real quick, we got Laren in here. What's up, man, Laren? And Holland, just shouting out, Laren, my love. Long time no see. Oh man, too funny, too funny. Okay, so there goes our number 5s. All right, so entertaining round for sure. We'll move on to our number 4s. So I think we were starting with Vin. Yes.
Yes.
All right,
Um,
Vin. What you got for us?
I have 2 films from this director, so I'm going to pull one of them now. I'm going to go Barry Lyndon.
Ooh.
It's just a fantastic character study film. It's a bit long, which can turn some people off, but yeah, I have that version too. I pulled this kind of a older steelbook out that I have wrapped up still, but it's almost like I always kind of think of it like Forrest Gump, where this character just goes through all these different series of adventures. But Barry Lyndon is a bit more where it's a character where he starts low, goes to the highest highs, and then by the end of the film, he's low again. And it's just a great character study film. I know they did a lot with natural lighting in this film, and it's just a fantastic movie. So I'm gonna pull Barry Lyndon here for my second pick.
That was actually my next pick. That's a great movie. Yeah, for sure. I've only seen it once, but immediately it's just like, yeah, masterpiece. Like that's Stanley Kubrick is such a Mount Rushmore filmmaker. Like on a technical level, this movie is just so impressive. Like I read that they used what was it? He used like special lenses, right? Like they were designed by NASA or something like that to specifically capture like low light environments with clarity. So I thought that was just really, really cool. And just yeah, the cinematography, camera work, just top notch, like all like super impressive. I love that movie.
Yeah, I just love following this one character. It's like one of those movies where it's a long movie, it's like 3 hours, but you're following this one dude through all of these trials and tribulations, where he starts out in one army, he loses, he's in love with his cousin, loses a duel, gets sent off. He's in fist fights, he's in gunfights, he's in duels. You just follow this one character through all these highs and lows, and it just ends up being a very rewarding experience. The actor who plays Barry Lyndon, I don't know his name by chance, Ryan O'Neal.
Yeah,
he's great in it. And I rewatched this within the past 6 months, and it's long, but it's like it goes by. It's one of those films that goes by, and it doesn't feel as long as it is to me.
Have you seen that one, Mike?
I've not seen that one, so I'm like, what the heck are we talking about here? I know I've heard the title, but I know nothing about that movie. Until now, you guys hyped it up pretty good. But I didn't know it's a Stanley Kubrick title, so that already piques my radar right there. So I have to check it out.
It's got
I'm pretty sure
Criterion release, so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I was about to say, I'm pretty sure this is gonna get a 4K by Criterion at some point, because it's just one of those that lends itself perfectly with. I've heard a lot of people refer to it as, every frame looks like a 18th century portrait, and it's super true. But yeah, Vin, totally agree. I mean, masterpiece of a movie. I think just the way like it explores like this guy's ambition, but then at the same time self-destruction as he goes through these different phases in his life, and it's very engaging, like despite the runtime, for sure. Great pick.
Now I got a question, because a lot of Kubrick films I've seen, they kind of play in two parts, where like the second half completely transitions to something different. Like Full Metal Jacket to me plays in like two parts, if that makes sense. Does Barry Lyndon do the same thing, or is it like the same story? A little bit?
Because he starts as like this guy that's in just random wars, and then eventually he goes into upper class aristocratic society. So there is a dual thing there where he's trying to chase, fortune and fame, and then he gets it. And then I don't want to spoil too much, but then at that point you're watching him navigate this this scene of people that there's uber rich, and he's kind of weaseled his way in there, and then you just kind of watch him rise, and then what Eddie was saying, self-destruct, make bad choices, self-destruct, and it's just it's interesting in that way.
So not a happy movie then.
Yeah.
I would just add that, to me, like Full Metal Jacket is more of a like abrupt and jarring switch, whereas Barry Lyndon is more of a gradual like character arc throughout the movie. Although, like Vince says, there is, because he goes through different phases, like I said, so it's just like a different point in his life. I wouldn't compare.
Like the same movie though. It feels like the same movie. Full Metal Jacket feels like a whole different film.
Yeah, it's just something I noticed with like Kubrick titles, where he likes to play those kind of like two movies in one. Like even Paths of Glory, like it's like, okay, we're in the war, and now we're switching to a courtroom drama. Like it plays like two movies in one.
Yeah.
All right. So great pick, Vin. I'm not mad at you. Mike, you want to give your number 4?
Absolutely. Okay.
And Holland says he needs to see that one as well. Yeah,
I
definitely check it out.
Holland, watch party right there. All right. So my next choice, and like I said, I didn't want to go with the obvious choices. I wanted to go a little bit more controversial. Like I had a Rocky 2 ready to go. That was a sequel. And this is a sequel as well to a beloved movie. But I actually like the sequel more than the original. Okay. That's going to be Jaws 2. Right? I said I wasn't going to pull Jaws. Okay. But I know, spicy take right there. But I really like Jaws 2. To me, it becomes more of like a full-on slasher movie with this wild shark, and you get to see like even more slashing action. Whereas in the first movie, you really rarely ever see the shark, and I know that's the point. Get the first person or first shark perspective, I guess you could see, with traveling through the ocean and stuff. But I'm like, I don't know, we need to pizzazz it up a little bit. It's a little slow, that first one. This to me turns it up, just like Rocky 2 turns up Rocky, makes it a little bit more blockbustery, action packed. Same thing with Jaws 2. We turn up the Jaws-ness. Okay, so Jaws 2 to me is a much more entertaining movie than Jaws 1. I love Jaws 1. Jaws 2, you got all the same good ingredients with bringing back some of the main cast, so you get to see their familiar faces. But I also like the new cast members too. You're like, okay, what's going to happen to these wild teens out there in the oceans? So I just like Jaws 2 quite a bit. And I just watched this one for the first time like a year or two ago. And yeah, now I'm a big fan of Jaws 2. So I know, spicy take, right?
It's
Well,
spicy, but I don't see the worst thing I can say about that pick is I've seen Jaws 2. I own Jaws 2 on 4K, and I watched it probably within the past year, maybe a year and a half, and I can't remember a damn thing about the film. So that's the worst thing I can say about it. Maybe it's because I wasn't paying attention, but I remember the first Jaws, and I don't really remember much about what happened in Jaws 2. Besides, I had the same sheriff, and
Yep.
but I don't know.
yeah, I mean, all I can say, because I haven't seen Jaws 2, although I own the Steelbook, I just haven't watched it yet. But growing up, I knew about Jaws. I watched it later in life. I never knew there was a sequel. So
Oh,
that's
it's
all
so
I'll say
good.
about it.
You got to
But
see that Jaws 2 and then Jaws 3. Jaws 3 is underrated. Not as good as Jaws 2, but Jaws 3, I mean, it's like Jaws at SeaWorld. It's a fun time. Oh my gosh. It's great.
well,
Jaws
got to
3.
give that one a watch. I don't know. I don't know. It's gonna be a tough one between Jaws 2 and Barry Lyndon. I'm not sure which one I'll give the
I
edge
don't
to
know.
there.
Jaws 2 is really good. Like I said, I don't know if Barry Lyndon will live up to Jaws 2 for me, but I'll give it a whirl. I'll give it a whirl.
Yeah, I meant to watch it this past summer in July, but it was one of those titles that got away from me. Not enough time in the
It
day.
swam away from you just.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, okay, Jaws 2. Just shout out my watch list. Awesome pick, Mike. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I
And
guess
now
I'll
you
go
got to
next.
see Jaws 3. Jaws 3 in 3D as well. So there you go.
I think I'll stop at Jaws 2. I don't know if I'll continue past Jaws 2. We'll see. I guess it depends how much I enjoy the sequel, and then we'll see. But all right. So number 4 for me, this is gonna be a personal pick. I don't expect this to be on many people's top 5 of the 70s, but this is one I grew up with, so I'm just gonna go with it. That's Grease. I've talked this one a bit. I've talked this one. I can't talk right now. I've talked about this one quite a bit on my channel. Like I was saying, just grew up with this movie, watched it countless times as a kid, and just soundtrack was one of those that would always play in the car. I remember my dad just playing that soundtrack in the car all the time. Loved the songs, know the words. No, I'm not going to sing it for you guys. Sorry.
You're
But
the one that I want. Woo, woo.
it's
You
classic,
gotta
man.
go.
Iconic
Yeah,
stuff.
it's good.
Yeah, I mean, R.I.P. Olivia Newton-John. That was sad to hear about that. And John Travolta just killing it. Of course, a little silly with the adults playing high school kids. They look like they're in their mid-20s. But aside from that, and the ending, I mean, I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but weird ending. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about.
Man, I
You guys
haven't seen it in the
seen Grease?
longest time.
Okay, so I mean, I won't say it just in case, but yeah, aside from the ending that doesn't make sense, I just think, yeah, it's corny, it's fun, it's kind of dumb, but iconic music. I love that, like, it takes place in the 50s, even though it's from the 70s, so a somewhat recent perspective on that decade. I don't know how accurate as far as everything else, but yeah, just love Grease, definitely. Not a huge fan of musicals, like I've said before, but this is one that I really, really enjoy.
Man,
I
I
don't know
should have
about
grabbed Grease 2 over here. That's another good sequel.
Is there a Grease too?
Yeah,
yeah,
Grease 2 is
isn't it,
awesome.
Michelle Pfeiffer
Yeah,
in that one?
I think so. It's good though. It's actually quite a good sequel.
Uh,
Vid, your face is like I'm not into Grease right now. You're
I'm
not a
not,
Grease fan over there?
I'm not a big musical guy, and no, I don't care for.
I
I
mean,
don't remember Grease much, but I don't care to ever watch it.
Oh man. I love musicals, but it's not my favorite musical. I will say the music's really good in it, but the story itself is just kind of like generic. You've seen this story a million times, of course, high school sweethearts, rivals, blah, 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 blah. But the music's excellent, and the opening credits are very cool too. It's like the cartoony art. I love the opening credits.
Yeah, and then as far as like It came out in the 70s, but it's depicting the 50s. I purposely left out a couple of films that came out in the 70s, but were depicting different decades for that reason, because I want my 70s, not that they all do to an extent, but like, because one of them, spoiler, we'll talk about when I pull it, but
To feel like the 70s, or
yeah, you
Yeah,
wanted to kind of have that aesthetic, the
you
clothing
do.
of the 70s, the
Absolutely.
the
because even Barry Lyndon, although it's somewhat of a period piece, it
yeah, that's
still kind of feels and has that look aesthetic of, it was made in the 70s.
well, you could make the argument for the same thing with Barry Lyndon. I just pulled the same, like,
Yeah,
I don't know if that feels 70s. It does, because I know it came out in the 70s, and that was
yeah,
Kubrick's 70s, big 70s film. But like the clothing is not 70s; it's like older, So I don't know. It's the same argument,
yeah,
But
yeah. Like I'll admit, there's like a lot of nostalgia behind that pick. So I'll if I saw it as an adult, it probably wouldn't even hit the same. I'd probably be just another musical I'd skip. But
well, yeah,
it's
dude,
just one of those.
your dad was playing the soundtrack in the car, bro. Like you
Yeah,
got it filming your veins.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, even the songs that weren't my favorite, I still knew every word. So it's just one of those that it just hit at the right time as a kid, and yeah, it was like a big thing in my house. Like everybody in my family knew Grease and loved Grease, so it's
Yeah,
just one of
that's
those personal picks.
100% understand that. Like I never had anybody in my life show me Grease ever. So, I think my girlfriend in 6th grade liked Grease, and that was my only exposure to it.
Oh, sounds like a keeper, man.
I lost her about 20 years ago. So
Oh. Oh man, yeah, too funny, too funny. All right, so that wraps up our round for our number fours. I guess we'll kick it off with our number three picks. What do you guys think so far? How y'all feeling so far? Is this what do you think of each other's picks? I mean, I'll be the first to say. I mean, Vin, I think you've pulled out some bangers there. Rocky, Barry Lyndon, definitely some heavy hitters. Mike, your picks are definitely unique, but I like them.
Of course. I got to give you stuff you haven't heard of before, or that you've heard of, but you just don't remember as fondly because you got to see it twice. These are twice watching kind of movies.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of your picks yet, Mike, so I got to get on that. I own one of them, so all right. So I guess Vin, you're up. You want to show us your number three?
yeah. There's been times in my life where this was a top 5 movie all time for me. I'm not sure if I feel that way now because I've seen so much cinema over the past few years, but I love this film, and it is Dog Day Afternoon.
Okay.
Sidney Lumet film about Al Pacino and his buddy, and the whole film takes place in one setting where they're robbing a bank, and it's all about them trying to rob a bank, and then obviously they're getting heat on them, and cops and mass crowds form outside the bank, and they're trying to figure a way out. They're trying to negotiate with the police to try and find an escape route, and it's just a very engrossing film. I'm a sucker for films that take place in one location. This does that for 90% of the film. It's all within the bank. And Al Pacino's not a bad guy. He's trying to get the guys pizza and food and letting them go to the bathroom. And he's not like this harsh, hardened, bad criminal guy, but like he's just desperate for money. And he holds up this bank with his buddy. And from there, it's just him trying to manage the situation of dealing with the people that he's holding up inside the bank, the tellers, the patrons, and also dealing with the cops outside, and also the massive crowd that forms outside, by and large, most of which is supporting him as the bank robber. So it's just a very iconic piece of 70s film. I like to revisit it annually, like I said. And yeah, I hope you guys have at least maybe seen this.
I've seen it. I remember not loving it, but maybe I just wasn't like in the right mindset at the time. Because
If you like single location films, I think you got to dig on this one.
It sounds like Inside Man, if you guys seen that more modern bank movie.
Yeah, it's kind of a more retro version of that. I can see that comparison. And it's actually based off of a true story too, which is kind of wild. Yeah, Dog Day for sure.
Yeah, that's one that I need to rewatch because I saw that maybe 4 years ago, I want to say, and I was I think at that time, at that point in time, I was barely just starting to try and discover film and older movies. To me, 70s was older, but yeah, so it's very early in my film discovery journey. So it's one that I gotta kind of want to go back to for sure.
Yeah, I think you would like it.
All right, cool, nice. Can't go wrong with some Al Pacino though. Some early 70s Al Pacino. Mike, what you got for us, man?
All right, so we are back to a franchise here. I love my franchise movies. So you gotta have to go with, 007 movie. The Man with the Golden Gun came out in 1974. You got Roger Moore, one of my favorite James Bond actors of all time, but some of the best villains in any James Bond movie. You got Scaramanga, and then also little Knick Knack. Great villains, very entertaining. I just remember watching this classic 007 movie when I was younger, and I'm like, wow, this one's pretty fun and fairly memorable. I mean, it has the golden gun in there, right? But don't get it mixed. It's not GoldenEye, okay? GoldenEye is in the 90s. The Man with the Golden Gun, okay? Different movie. But I really love 007 James Bond movies, and so I thought this was a really good, entertaining one. And it fits the 70s, of course. So I had to choose this one. Do you guys watch a lot of James Bond movies out there?
Can't say that I've seen any of those, to be quite honest.
No, not one James Bond movie?
Not even the Daniel Craig ones. No, I have not.
What? Like, how do you not accidentally watch one?
I mean, I played the video game. What was it on, like, what console? I don't remember. Nintendo? GoldenEye?
Man,
I played that. That's as far as my 007 knowledge goes.
man, I've
Yeah,
seen like
sorry.
the whole franchise like 2 or 3 times by now. Oh my
Oh
gosh.
man, yeah, I know. I've been meaning to get on that. Just so many movies out there to watch, man.
I know. So many movies, so
We
little
all have our
time.
blind
Vin,
spots. That's a big one though, I'll admit. Yeah. But I don't know. Vin, how about you?
do you watch James Bond movies?
I have never seen a single James Bond film either.
I don't feel so bad now.
What's going on here, guys? What
I've
is
seen
this?
Austin Powers. They spoofed it. I've seen
I see.
Okay, that's a starting moment. All right.
Random Task,
Oh, there you go. Odd Job, Random Task. Yep, gotcha.
Yeah, no,
He kind of reminds me of Knick Knack too. Knick Knack. Actually, he's probably more like Knick Knack in this movie than even Odd Job, who's spoofing the name off of. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I never went down that rabbit hole because it's like there's such a deep rabbit hole. It's like, oh, where do I even start? Like,
Start with the first one, Dr. No, and you go watch all 20, like 5 of them.
I've heard those early ones are rough though. Is that true?
Really? Oh my gosh. I love some of the early ones. I mean, it's slower pace, but that's just classic filmmaking. But you have all the typical James Bond and stuff in there. You got the villains, you got the James Bond girls. So it has all the traits from the very first movie. So I like them all.
So how do you feel about the Daniel Craig Bond movies?
I like 3 of them. I like Casino Royale, Skyfall's probably my favorite. I go back and forth between those 2. What was the last one? No Time to Die, right? That one was pretty good. But Spectre was not good. And what was that one that was so awful? I try to erase it from my memory. I don't know. There's one in there that was so bad. I'm like, I will never watch that again.
So how do those kind of newer films in the series compare to the newer Mission Impossible films? Because like Fallout, Dead Reckoning, some of those later Mission Impossible films are like 2.5 hours long. But like I sit there, I'm like, this is just entertaining. Like I'm so entertained by those films. I feel like they've just like figured out how to make a long form action blockbuster that just is riveting the whole time. Like, are those on that level, or do you even feel the same way? Or
wow, I've never even looked at it from that perspective, because I think those later Mission Impossible movies are really darn entertaining. They probably have even greater stunt work than I would say the James Bond movies. So if you're going just for
skydiving, of course.
If you're just going for like bonkers action, those later Mission Impossible movies are where it's at for sure. Like I would say that first Mission Impossible is very similar to like these classic James Bond movies where it's much more slower pace. So if you're okay with that. But if you're just going for bonkers, crazy action, definitely not the franchise for you. Maybe some of the later entries, maybe like the Daniel Craig stuff will work fine enough. But yeah. I mean, if you just want a poker movie, Casino Royale is great. So if you love that, there you go.
Yeah, one day I just got to start the franchise and
Okay,
just
you know what? I'm gonna give a recommendation though. Okay, the best James Bond movie of all time though, Tomorrow Never Dies. Because I want you guys to start off with a good strong one. Tomorrow Never Dies, my personal favorite. You got to see that one. That's 90s. Pierce Brosnan in that one, and it's very entertaining. A lot of action moments. So, like you were talking bonkers action, Vin, that has some of that in there, and you get Michelle Yeoh in there, very young Michelle Yeoh. So,
Okay.
So my biggest takeaway from this stream is I'm gonna start watching 007 and I gotta rewatch the Mission Impossible ones too. It's been so long. I haven't even seen a lot of the newer ones. So hearing you guys talk about them is like just making me want to watch those.
Yeah.
Man, gotta get on that. Jesus. Okay. All right. Where were we?
You're number 3.
Number 3. Okay. So so this was actually going to be an honorable mention for me, but I decided to throw it into the top 5 because Vin, you stole my pick of Barry Lyndon. So to avoid a duplicate, I'm just gonna throw this one in there. And this was a recent watch actually, so also starring Ryan O'Neal, and I got this during the most recent Criterion sale, Paper Moon. So yeah, don't have a lot of history with this one. I just, like I said, recently watched it for the first time, but can get the glare out of there. But yeah, Paper Moon. Yes, nice. Just really, really starting to love Peter Bogdanovich as a filmmaker. This is the second movie I've seen from him, the first being Targets, which I also enjoyed. But yeah, this one just surpasses it in
Oh,
every
dude.
way.
Light years ahead of Targets.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and just the fact that I really love that decision to film this in black and white due to the time period in which it takes place around the Great Depression era. So the fact that it's a 70s movie, kind of transporting back and just putting us there in that moment in time through the aesthetic of the film, I just really appreciated that choice. I feel like it really and just engages the audience and kind of it helps you become more invested as well. And yeah, Ryan O'Neal also, who was in Barry Lyndon, he was just as incredible in this film. And fun fact, the little girl who plays his daughter is actually his daughter in real life, who apparently they didn't have the best relationship in real life. It's actually had a really crappy one, so it seems. Uh, but yeah, I mean, fantastic chemistry between the two. I mean,
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed that story. It's just like love the blend of heartwarming moments between father, daughter, and just also like really funny in certain points. Like I genuinely laughed out loud in moments, and yeah, so great,
Dude,
great
I saw
movie. I
this.
had flew under the radar for me for so long.
I said the same thing on a stream with Mike, post Criterion sale. I said that this was like my favorite pick of the November sale, and I said the same thing. Like, there's these very subtle moments that are like literally like laugh out loud funny between the dad and his daughter. That's just hilarious. Like, it was definitely a surprise how much I like this movie from start to finish, and definitely almost made my top 5. But again, I pulled it out because it was a 70s film depicting the 50s. But besides that, like, I love that movie so much. Like, definitely was pleasantly surprised throughout. I don't want to spoil the ending, but even the ending, like, it kind of doesn't, in a way, it doesn't give you the ending you want, but it does at the same time. But at the same time, it does it in a hilarious way. Like, I just think it's fantastic.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, like I said, it didn't originally make my top 5. Like maybe upon rewatch, it would have, but yeah, I wanted to throw it in there anyways because, well, yeah, it's a great movie. I mean, can't go wrong. I don't know. What do you think, Mike? Is that one that you've seen or feel like you want to check out?
I've not seen. After our last Criterion post game show, Vin did a great job convincing me to put it on my list. So I think I'm gonna pick it up next Criterion sale season. But then
Yeah.
Eddie, you said something right now that I'm like, now maybe I don't want to pick it up because
Ooh,
I
what
didn't
was that?
know it was a choice to film it in black and white. I actually didn't know it was a 70s movie. I was just assuming, oh, it has to be a 50s movie. So I do not like that personal choice of filming stuff in black and white when you have the color technology available. That's just my own little personal thing. If a movie can be in color, I much prefer it to be in color. It's not going to ruin the movie for me, so I'm sure I'll still enjoy it because I do like comedies. And I do like a lot of Criterion comedies I've picked up. So I'll still pick it up. I don't know. I just turn
Yeah.
everything into
No,
a rant.
yeah, fair. But I feel like it does add to the authenticity of it though. Like,
You like Raging Bull, Mike?
Yes, I like it, but it shouldn't be in black and white. But I do like it. It's no Rocky 2, but I do like it.
see, like, I guess in my opinion, Raging Bull is one that it doesn't. I can see why the black and white doesn't necessarily add to it, in my opinion. But for this film in particular, I feel like it does. If that makes sense, like it I don't know. It's just my, but I get it. It's a fair point, you know. To each their own.
I'm like,
But
color
you're
on
missing out on a great
everything. I
movie.
want color everywhere. Take all the movies from the 20s, turn them into color movies.
Colorize them. Sweet. All right. So yeah, there's Paper Moon, but yeah, and by the way, I also want to just go back to the chat real quick. If you guys are still there, if you're still out there, feel free to drop in your picks as well. You know, any favorites from the 70s. I think we're on number 3 now. So if you have any picks that you want to share, some that we haven't mentioned, you know, by all means, throw them out there. I want to see what you guys, what 70s movies you guys like. Laren says that Raging Bull is beautiful just the way it is. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm not hating on it, but I mean, I feel like that's one that it could use some color, maybe. I don't know.
I can't imagine that film in color. Maybe it's great. I can't imagine though. It's just such an iconic black and white film though to me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, either way, great movie. But yeah, let's see. Trying to keep track of where we are here, guys. Sorry
Number
about
twos.
that. I think Vin.
Number 2s, yep.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. This is another one. It's on my mind to watch it every year. I don't know if I get it in every year, but it's on my mind to watch it every year. And it's Alien. Let's go. Come on. Alien.
Had to be on there, yes.
Ridley Scott. I mean, my favorite of the franchise, just that slow burn space horror. If you've seen Alien, you know. Iconic scenes with the chest burst, iconic scenes, iconic villain with the xenomorph. It's just a staple of American pulp culture, and it's one of the best films in the 70s. And it's got that slow burn, dread, space feel to it, and easily got to be talked about on a stream like tonight, at least mentioned, is Alien. So there it is.
Yeah, I'm glad somebody pulled Alien because I wasn't going to pull it, but definitely deserves a spot on the stream.
Yeah, and a lot of people like Alien 2 better. Maybe you're Mike. Maybe you're a sequel guy. Maybe you like Alien 2. It is more action heavy. I do like Alien 2. I like it, but it ain't Alien 1. I'm gonna take the original.
I'm with you on that one. I actually don't like Aliens as much as most people, but I will say I like the new Alien better than the first one. Alien Romulus is a very good Alien movie.
I watched Romulus on. It came on streaming. I think it was on Peacock or something. I watched it. I enjoyed it for sure. It still doesn't have the same tension and all of the elements that make the first one so iconic, but I did really like Romulus.
Yeah, I like the Alien franchise more horror than action. So yeah, I'm with you.
And the first one had a little bit more horror elements, whereas the second one's like tried to go action, and the third, you know,
and everybody's like super dumb in the second one too, besides like the main character.
yeah, the Marines.
Yeah, Alien definitely a classic. I remember, definitely more of a slow burn. I remember I tried watching it or showing it to like a couple friends of mine, like 2 of them, and they both like, well, one of them started falling asleep, and they're just more like, you know, casual movie watchers or not, you know, cinephiles like us, but they were.
You gotta show them Alien versus Predator. You know, that's the movie right there.
So Yeah. Laren says Alien is his favorite of the franchise. Yeah, can't go wrong. I think I slightly preferred Aliens at the time, though. Those were some other ones that I watched a lot later in life as well. So I don't know. Might have to go back and rewatch also. Too many movies adding to my watch list tonight.
I know I gave you like franchises with like 10, 20 movies
You
in
did,
them.
dude. You did. Give me a lot of homework here. I think that takes us to Mike.
Oh
You're
yeah.
number 2, right? And yeah, nice pull, Vin. I'm glad somebody brought up Alien.
And the franchise train will not stop. We are still on that train here. So here's another franchise, Eddie. Hopefully you've seen this franchise. But we will have Star Trek, the motion picture. The first Star Trek movie came out in the 70s. And I like the first Star Trek movie probably the best out of the original Star Trek movies. Now, I do like the remakes are pretty good if you want the more action blockbuster, kind of almost more feeling like Star Wars in a way, where the pace is really picked up. But I really like the motion picture, the first one, because I think it's really about what Star Wars is. I mean, See, I'm getting them mixed up. I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt and I got Star Trek over here. I think the first one, though, is really kind of home to what Star Trek is, where it's really about space exploration, discovering new worlds, and it's more about like exploring space rather than action. I mean, if you want the action franchise, go Star Wars. If you want kind of the more thinking, just exploration universe type of movies, go Star Trek. So, motion picture, I know a lot of people don't like that one. They say it's really slow, it's very boring. I like the reveal at the end. I thought it was really intriguing. So, that's what kind of perked me up by the end. But some people don't care for the first one. I like it. It has a big budget, so some people like the second one out of this. To me, the second one gets too much action for Star Trek.
Hmm.
Have you seen any of the Star Trek movies?
I have not seen a single Star Trek film.
No Star Trek, no James Bond. What the heck is happening with
I
this
missed the
show?
boat on these things, and now it's just like it's too late for me. It's over for me.
We got to get you on the Enterprise, man. We got to get you back there.
What about the show, Mike? You like the show, Star Wars or Star Trek, Next Generation? Because
I
those are
actually
some,
haven't watched the shows at all. Have you seen the shows?
no, but I got a buddy who really loves the shows, so
Hmm.
I trust this guy's opinion, so I feel like they're probably
Oh.
pretty good.
Yeah,
But
I'm definitely not a TV show person by any means. I do kind of want to go back and watch the original Star Trek show, though. Um, I have seen the animated Star Trek Lower Decks that they just came out with because it's more like a comedy. So if you're looking for a funny show, Star Trek Lower Decks is pretty good.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I actually haven't seen them either. I bought like one of those collection Blu-ray collection boxes, or it wasn't a box, it just comes in a standard case, but it's the remakes though. It's, I don't know if the remakes or reboots or whatever. I just bought it because it
Mhm.
was cheap. The ones with Chris Pine. I don't know. Are
Those are
those any
fun
good?
movies. And you haven't watched any of those?
No, I just bought them when I was really into. I was just buying everything at the time.
Mhm.
It's just started my Blu-ray collecting, and it was cheap at Walmart, and I bought it, but still haven't seen it.
I would start with those ones because those are more action packed and probably more entertaining to most. So I would definitely test out that first one from those newer movies and see if you like it. If you don't like it off of that first one, I stop the Star Trek train right there. Just leave it. Don't even try another one.
Sounds good. Another franchise that I need to watch. Thanks, Mike.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's not going to stop. It's going to keep going. You're going to get a whole filmography next time. So be ready.
Let's do it. I'm up for the challenge. All right. I guess I'm up. So we'll start with well, this is my number 2, right? I keep losing track of where we are. I think this is my number 2.
Number 2.
So this is a horror film directed by Brian De Palma, and it's gonna be Carrie.
Carrie, there it is.
Yeah. Love Carrie. Love Carrie. Love Sissy Spacek in this. Have y'all seen Carrie? Vin, I'm assuming yes. Mike as well. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, sweet. So just really love Carrie. I mean, Sissy Spacek's performance in this is awesome. Just the way she portrays this like oppressed, just young girl who's controlled by her religious mother, and also at school dealing with what she's dealing with, just really like intense bullying, and then for it to take this like supernatural turn, and just that iconic prom scene. I mean, just cinema right there. Classic stuff. And yeah, just really love overall the performances, the atmosphere, the mood, just very unsettling from start to finish. So yeah, Carrie, I mean, really, really good stuff. I mean, I don't know what else to add to this, but yeah, another one of those Stephen King adaptations. What do y'all think about Carrie?
That's one I feel like I've said it on pot or on streams before, but one of the most unsettling single shot scenes in a film I've ever seen is when Carrie, I think it's when Carrie comes home from the prom and she's walking into the bathroom to clean off, but behind the door, her mother is hiding behind the door, and in the little splinter that you can see in the crevice of the door jamb, you can see the mom and you can see her eye. And the mom is just like hiding behind the door, and Carrie is unaware that her mother is there. And that one scene always stuck with me, like since I ever saw it. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about at all, but the mother in that movie is definitely a catalyst for some serious, crazy stuff.
Yeah, she's definitely crazy. I don't remember that scene in particular. Maybe I missed that, but
It's
yeah,
subtle. It doesn't like drive in on it. You have to like be looking in that little crevice between the wood, and you can see the mom behind the door, and it's crazy.
Yeah, sounds familiar. Have you guys seen the other Carrie movies as well?
I have them, but I haven't watched the I think it's like two, right? There's two.
Yeah, there's a made-for-TV one, and then there's that remake, most recent modern-looking one. You don't have to have seen them. They're all the
the
same movie.
remake, just the remake.
Yeah, they're all exactly the same thing. Like, the plot is exactly
Yeah,
the same.
I actually saw the remake first in theaters. I At the time I wasn't aware, because that was such a long time ago. I wasn't aware there was even an original. But yeah, this one, masterclass in horror. Just love way better for
I will
sure.
say one gripe, though, and from what I've heard now, I don't know because I haven't read the book, but there's something that the movies get wrong, at least from what I've heard. If this is correct, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But they get wrong, I guess, the look of Carrie in all of the movies, where Carrie in the book is supposed to be like very unattractive, like she's larger. So like when the blood falls, the pig's blood or whatever, it makes more sense in that way. Have you guys heard of this or no? Have you guys read the book?
I have not read the book. I have not
Okay.
heard of that, but I believe it.
Okay. Yeah, so that's the thing. My one gripe, where it's like, to me it would make more sense, because whenever I'm watching the movie, I'm like, why are they so mean to her? Like, I know she's probably not the most popular person, and she might be like weird and awkward with her mom and the religious stuff, but I always felt like she was too unpopular for how she was presented, I guess you could say. So that's my only gripe with it. But other than that, very good movies.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
makes
she was
sense.
obviously super, super awkward because she had her period and immediately went, if I'm not mistaken, and like freaked out to all of her classmates and like showed the blood to all of her classmates. So when you're that unhinged, you know, you're gonna
Yeah,
get picked on by those mean girls probably, but
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean that makes sense too. Um, okay, so Carrie, we all agree, great movie. All right, so I think that takes us to our number one, man. We're flying by with these picks, so making good time here.
yeah.
So yeah, it's been fun so far. Anything? Well, I guess we'll save some honorable mentions for the end. What do you think? Should we do them now, or yeah, just in case one of those happens to be our number one, right? So we'll save them. We'll save them.
I know you're gonna take my last choice, Eddie. What's going on?
Sorry. All right, we'll save the honorable mentions for the very end, and we'll kick off our final round. Our number one, Vin, you're up, man.
It's another Kubrick, and I'm going with Clockwork. Love Clockwork Orange. Have you guys seen it?
Yep.
Yes.
Just a great story, so original. I love the originality of it. I love the just the whole way it's presented. I read the novel as well, by Anthony Burgess, and it's the same type of lingo. Like the author Anthony Burgess created this kind of fake language that they kind of speak in the film, and when you read the book, it takes a while to get used to, and it's kind of the same thing in the film. But yeah, I love the story of Alex and how he just kind of goes through his whole thing. I think it's a very unique, very, very Kubrick film, and it's one that I revisit pretty much annually. So yeah, Clockwork, not necessarily my number one 70s film of all time, but I pulled it last. So I got this Titans of Cult release on it here.
Yeah, that's a sweet looking box there. I gotta say though, for the film itself, like I wasn't a big fan. I didn't find it very entertaining, I guess. I would say it's definitely my least favorite Kubrick. But
Really, ever,
again,
all Kubricks.
well, I'm missing one or two from his filmography, but from what I've seen, that's my least favorite. Though it's another one of those that, again, I saw it kind of early on in my film discovery, so need to give it another watch. Maybe I'll
A lot of
see it
people
differently.
are kind of turned off by some elements of Clockwork, some of the little bit more harsher scenes that it depicts. Not that
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
why you might not like it, but I know that some people it's like it's just too much as far as like some of the depravity that's in this film.
yeah,
But I
and
don't mind.
and it wasn't even that for me. Like I can stomach some of those hard to watch scenes, so it wasn't even necessarily that aspect. I don't know. I like the Alex Delarge as a character. I thought that was kind of like you said, unique and everything, but just didn't pull me in. I don't know. Mike, what
Well,
do you think?
how they
Or
try
sorry,
to
go.
oh sorry how they try to reform him at the end, and I don't want to spoil it maybe for people maybe in the chat, but how they try to kind of cure him, but you know how the whole end plays out. I thought was really really cool too.
Yeah, I really like this one. I've only seen it once, so I need to revisit it, but I think it might be my favorite Kubrick title just because
Mm.
I like the premise so much. I thought the premise was really interesting where you're talking about reforming this terrible criminal. I mean, the opening scenes, you're like, oh my gosh, what the heck am I watching? What did I get into? Like, this is horrific what this group of people are doing. And then to see him go to prison and they try to reform, you got the eyes open, that iconic moment, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I
They're
just thought the idea of the movie was really interesting. What were you gonna say, Vin?
I would say, Mike, if you've only seen it once, and if you like, oh, I like that film, you're only gonna like it more and more because when you watch it a second or a third time, you're not gonna be trying to be like, what the hell's going on? Like, you're gonna really like hone in on and really just appreciate the film more and more. Like, if you don't like it the first watch, it might not be your thing. But if you watched it once and you're like, oh, I dig this film, you're gonna like it even more when you revisit it. I'm pretty confident.
And I will say it's probably like a more straightforward Kubrick story. Yes, there's a lot of good like questioning you can do, but it's a very straightforward story with what happens. Whereas like some of other Kubrick titles, I'm almost like, wait, what's exactly happening here? Like The Shining, I'm like, I still don't know what the heck's happening in the Shining movie. But like Clockwork Orange, I'm like, okay, I get this plot. I can follow along with it very easily. And it just interesting premise.
Even
So.
despite the interesting language that they employ.
Oh yeah. But that makes it so unique and how they're dressed too with the the white uniforms and the little
That's
hats and they have the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
canes and it
Very
just
unique.
makes them like caricatures in a way, like very goofy kind of villains, like almost like the Riddler in a way.
And it's another one with a great score too. Very powerful music in the background. Like it'll
Yeah.
be a scene where they're at the milk bar, like just drinking their milk cocktails, and the shot will just pan back, and it has this like iconic music in the background. Or it'll use like slow-mo elements too, like when Alex and his droogs when he trips the one guy and he pushes him into the lake. It's a lot, but one of my favorite Kubricks. Probably not my favorite Kubrick, but it's up there, top three probably.
Yeah, but I'm glad you mentioned it's definitely a proceed with caution kind of movie with the subject material for sure. You got to know what you're getting into.
Yeah, but even though it is rough in that way, the roughness of this film in the 1970s, when you watch films that are coming out today in 2024, 2022, 2017, when you are talking about elements of burglary or sexual misconduct or things like that, this is pretty damn tame. So if you can handle a film from 2024 that deals with this type of crap, this will be nothing for you.
Yeah, wasn't it like the first film to be rated X or something like that? Am I wrong with that?
It's possible.
That sounds familiar. I feel like I was watching a special feature and it was saying something like that.
Oh
So
wait,
it
think-
sounds
I
very
don't know. Actually, I want to take that back. I don't know. I
I think
don't.
it was banned in certain
Not the
countries.
place. Yeah.
There you go. That's what it was. It was banned for sure in certain places.
Because I want to say Midnight Cowboy was rated X, and that came out in the 60s.
Yeah, that was the first one to win Academy Award.
Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah.
That's a great choice. Good choice.
Clockwork Orange. Yeah. Definitely one I need to rewatch as well. The never-ending watch list, as well as the never-ending rewatch list. So keep them coming. I think Mike, that's your turn, right?
All right. Yep. Let me open this sucker up. But like I said, I have to get you an entire filmography. So let me find the placement here. Find where the heck are the 70s in this one. We'll find it. We'll find it. No, that's 60s. Where the heck? I'll find it for you guys. I know it's in here. Oh yeah, it's probably the most. Oh, there we go. There we go. So we're talking the Hitchcock movies, right? I have to bust out some Alfred Hitchcock right here. Okay. So we can go with Frenzy. Yes, Hitchcock's Frenzy right there. Yes, I think that's 70s, right? So that's 70s, yes. Pretty sure. Double check me if it's not 70s. But then also I could have gone like Family Plot is another 70s Hitchcock title too. But I'll recommend Frenzy there.
Yeah, Frenzy is 72.
There we go. So Frenzy's a great one if you're into slasher movies. There's a great Alfred Hitchcock cameo appearance in it too. Like probably his best cameo appearance in my opinion. But yeah, you pretty much have the psycho character that's just, strangling people, going after people, and you're trying to, find out who it is, how's it going to play out. But I love Hitchcock films, so I got to pull one from the 70s there. That's how I landed on Frenzy. But have you guys seen Frenzy at all?
No.
I
See, that's
haven't.
another one. Like I've seen like the big Hitchcock films,
Yeah.
like big ones. But like I have like the first 2 volumes of the Hitchcock collections, and I haven't really delved in yet. I haven't bought the third one yet, but I've only seen maybe like 4 Hitchcock films. So that's another like big spot for me where I'm kind of blind. But for me, I don't gravitate toward stuff that's that early. Oftentimes, I don't gravitate towards 60s. So I tend to always put it off till later,
Well,
But
there
this
you go.
is 70s.
70s. You get
And that's
Frenzy
yeah.
and Family Plot. Both are very good. So you
Is
get a little
Frenzy in the Volume 2 collection?
I think I have a feeling it's volume 3. I know it's in one of the volumes. I think it's volume 3. So yeah, because volume 3 is Frenzy, Topaz, Torn Curtain, Rope. I think it's volume 3. I don't know. Is Family Plot in volume 2, or is that might be in volume 3 as well?
Oh no, yeah. Volume 2 has Family Plot.
Oh, there you go. Family Plot is awesome. Check that one out.
It doesn't have it has Saboteur, Shadow of a Doubt, The Trouble with Harry, Marnie, and Family Plot.
Man, most of those are so good. I mean, I'm a massive Hitchcock fan. That's my second favorite director of all time. Once he gets into the talkies, I love all of his films for the most part. There's a couple in there I don't care for, but most of them I like. So, yeah. How about you, Eddie? Have you been watching some Hitchcock over there?
I've dabbled in some of the Hitchcock. When I think of Hitchcock, though, I've seen more of his earlier films, like from the 40s, 50s. So Frenzy, one of his later ones, 70s. I actually haven't seen anything past Psycho. So yeah, like I said, most of them was like Rear Window, Rope from the late 40s, Notorious, another 40s Hitchcock. So that's kind of like more of the Hitchcock era that I'm familiar with. Dial for Murder. But yeah, anything like 70s, I haven't really dipped my toes in yet. So
you gotta see Family Plot, because that's the last Hitchcock title ever made. So you gotta see it.
All right.
Gotta see how he finished.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, when I started diving more into Hitchcock, I kind of started with his earlier stuff, and that's kind of where I've stayed. So I definitely need to venture off more into his later stuff. And Laren agrees with you there. Frenzy is great.
And
Oh,
I love
cool.
how his later stuff we're talking about, it's like 70s, early 70s. That's his late
Yeah,
stuff.
at least for me. I mean, I don't know how far his filmography goes, but
I think 30s to 70s, right? Maybe he might. I don't. Yeah, I think it's at least 30s
that.
because he has some silent stuff in there from his like British era.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So for me, early Hitchcock would be like 40s. I don't know. I haven't really seen any of his earlier stuff. I didn't even know he had silent films.
Oh, he has a ton of them. Yeah, like those I can't do. The silent films is where I draw the line. I'm like, I need talking. I need talking.
Gotcha. All right.
But there you
Thanks,
go.
Nova.
You got a whole filmography now to watch, Eddie.
Yeah, definitely. I have some. Gonna have to really sit and think about what I'm watching tonight. So a lot of choices here. But okay. Anything else to add to that, Vin? You good?
Yeah. Waiting for your number one now.
All right. Sounds good. So my number one, had to go with this one. I'm a big fan of horror, so I'm gonna go with another horror title, Black Christmas, and I think it's really fitting considering it's December right now. So good. If you haven't seen Black Christmas, now's the time.
Mike's not
Mike,
happy.
you being a Grinch right now, Mike? What's going on?
I did not like that movie. I blind buy picked up the Scream Factory title, and I thought it was so freaking boring. I'm like, it's a guy just breathing on the phone the whole time. I'm like, what the hell is this? Oh, that movie
Well,
frustrated me.
mean,
But that's okay. Talk about. I want to know why you love it.
I get you. I can see that, but for me, like, I would just really appreciate it, like, just the fact that it takes place in that sorority house. Really love the setting, and then just like the tension building, the mystery aspect of it, not knowing who the killer is, and I feel like this movie really doesn't get a lot of credit for. I mean, not starting that subgenre of slasher, but it really laid the groundwork for a lot of movies. It came out 4 years before Halloween, and it incorporated some of those POV shots, like the one you were talking about earlier with young Michael Myers. This movie does that, and also just like really establishes that unsettling, chilling feeling, and just like that unsettling voice over the phone. I feel like that's really unique to the at the time, at least.
This is what Halloween would have been without the score.
Hello.
Like imagine if Black Christmas had a killer score. Maybe it would have been like we would have had like 9 Black Christmases by now.
Well,
we have
like three. We have two
film.
remakes. We got two
Are
remakes of it. So.
Are you a fan, Vin? I mean, what do you?
I have the Blu-ray. I watched it one time, and I got about halfway through, and I didn't stop watching because I didn't like it, but something came up, and then a day went by, and 2 days went by, and I never finished it. But I just remember, like Mike was saying, there was somebody climbing the side of the house and breathing, and a lot of voyeurism, and I want to watch it eventually, but I haven't gotten all the way through it. Not because I didn't like it, but because it was one of those situations where something comes up, you can't finish it. But I do want to watch it, especially it's Christmas season. I'd like to pop it in and watch it in its entirety.
Yeah, now time. I mean, I can appreciate the fact that it's not one of those like slashers that relies on this, like, even though I did praise that about Halloween earlier, like its iconic character. We don't have this iconic figure, iconic killer. Doesn't rely on really like the gore of it all. It's just more about atmosphere and tension building and just mood, and just eeriness overall. And that's what I really like in a horror movie. So for me, it just hit all the right notes for me. Olivia Hussey, just really enjoyed her performance. Underrated final girl, Olivia Hussey.
Now, is it a lot of like first person perspective from the killer's point of view? Is that safe to say? Where it's like a lot of the movie is like from his point of view watching the other characters?
That's part of it. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like 100% because, like I said, there's a lot of other effective ways in which the killer is kind of made, or his presence is felt, through phone calls or just through like the sound design alone, just and just scenes that don't really give it all away. But I mean, I don't really want to say too much again because without spoiling it. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's a really really well made movie. And honestly, when I first saw it, one of my first thoughts was like, this is a better made slasher than Halloween. Halloween is more iconic, of course, because of course it revolves around the Halloween season and just iconic score and everything. But yeah, I just thought this was just like a better made overall movie to me. It felt like so. Really appreciated it for that.
Well, the fact that it came out earlier too is big. You know, it came out like 4 years before you said.
Yeah, 4 years. I think it's from I wrote it here. Yeah, 74. So pretty early on. Um, Kind of like I said, kicking off or somewhat laying the groundwork for the slashers.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I'd say give it a watch this time of year for sure. Um, it's just like there's something so eerie and unsettling about the setting. Like I said, it just takes place in this like isolated sorority house over Christmas break. So just knowing like the horrors taking place in the house when on the outside you just have that like quiet, everyone's kind of out left campus or whatever, and it's just like the snow and it's like really this isolated feeling, kind of reminiscent of, I don't want to compare it to this, they're totally different, but like The Thing, it's just that isolated feeling out in the snow. So I just really like that aspect of it.
Yeah. I got to give it a watch.
But yeah, hopefully, Mike, you can um you know come to your senses one of these days and give Black Christmas
Yeah.
another watch.
Oh gosh, it was just so slow. It was so slow, and I'm like, there's so many other slashers I would want to watch again over that one. I mean, heck, I'll take the remake, and I'll take the recent remake that I know people despise. I'll take that
Yeah,
one. Um,
I guess that's more up my alley. Like I prefer that over just like a Friday the 13th, for example. Just random casted characters just set up to be killed, and you're just waiting for the next kill, and it's just like, okay, they're going off alone, they're gonna get killed, and that's just, for me, that doesn't really do it for me in a horror movie. I prefer something more like this. But that's just me. So I get it though. Um, but I think that wraps up our list, right? So
I got a stack here. I got a stack of honorables.
I
let's
do
kick it
not
off.
have a stack, so if anybody wants me to go first,
I have one. So
oh, there you go. Pull out your wood.
all right, well, I just kidding. This is actually another recent watch. So another one of those like slow burns, I guess. Maybe that's just my style, but Wicker Man.
Yep. I watched
Uh,
that. I picked up that beautiful steelbook.
yes,
Enjoyed it.
so
Enjoyed it.
sick. The Steelbook, but yeah, the movie I liked it. Like as soon as it ended, I was like, yeah, that was good. But then the more I thought about it and the more it lingered, I was like, yeah, this is actually really good. I even wanted to bump up my rating on Letterboxd, but I have a thing about doing that. That's another thing. But yeah, that was really that was really good. I definitely recommend Wicker Man. I guess you guys both saw it, right? Or
Yeah.
Yep.
I have the same.
okay,
I enjoyed it.
cool.
Yeah, I like that one quite a bit. Even though it's very slow and patient, it has a payoff at the end. Unlike Black Christmas. But yeah.
That's fair. All right. Mike, you have one, or you have an honorable mention?
Yeah, I mean they're already chosen by Steve in the comments, but I guess what the heck, why not? Superman, the movie, the first Superman movie. Well, actually, technically it wasn't the first Superman movie, but nobody talks about Superman in the moment. But anyway, Superman the movie is great. Christopher Reeves, excellent Superman, and I highly recommend checking out the new documentary that came out about him. It gives you a lot of appreciation for the work he's done, on and off of screen. But yeah, I mean, he just made the Superman character his own, just this kind of down to earth type of person, but with these superpowers. I love the relationship with Lois Lane in there. They just have I don't know, like a cute chemistry about them. So I really like them in the movie. Of course, you got Lex Luthor in there. That's fantastic. Just this like D-hole business guy pretty much. But I just like that movie overall. I mean, it pretty much kickstarted the superhero movies legitly, right? Before that, was there really any superhero movie that was at that blockbuster level? No. And then you got the iconic Superman score in there, I think done by John Williams, right? If I'm not mistaken. I think so.
Oh, I'm not
Correct me
sure.
if I'm wrong, but the Superman score is excellent, and how Krypton looked at the beginning was so cool with all the crystals. So I just loved how the movie looked. So it's really good. It's a superhero movie. I got to recommend a superhero movie. So have you guys seen Superman the movie?
I have not. I own that same DVD
I'm
set.
done. I'm gone. Get me out of here. Okay, this is unacceptable here. What is happening
I,
here?
I've seen Man of
I've
Steel.
seen no James Bond. I've seen no Star Trek, and I've seen no Superman.
I'm right there with you, man.
Wait, you guys haven't seen any Superman movie like ever?
I saw Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Okay, that's something.
I've seen
I'll
that
give you a
one,
little
but
credit.
Man of Steel. I remember catching parts of Superman. I'm not sure which one, but parts of it as a kid. That's about as far as I get with those, though.
Man, oh my gosh. You talk about 70s filmmaking right there. You gotta see Superman the movie. It was impressive for what they did during like that time, how it felt like so much more um blockbustery than I think any other movies before it. Like it truly felt like a epic superhero film. So
Is it too late now though to go back?
no, go back. Go back. It'll be cheesy. It'll be a cheesy superhero movie, as in comparison to today with all the visual effects and but it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have that 5-film collection? Because I'm looking back at my DVDs
Yeah,
down
my
there.
DVD 5-film collection, but they also have the first one on 4K. I do have a 4K
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
of the
have that
first one.
DVD set.
Yeah.
That was handed down to me. So I gotta
Yeah,
watch
the
it.
first two are very good. So watch the first two. I like the third more than most, but you can stop after the second. And don't even go for the fourth. Don't even try the fourth one. Oh, and I forgot there is a fifth one in there. The fifth one is actually a good movie, but a terrible superhero movie. If you watch the movie, you'll know what I mean. If you want a drama, it's very good.
So would you say to watch the James Bond movies first or Superman?
Well, I mean, you guys aren't like superhero people, right? So I'd go
I
James Bond movies for you guys then.
I enjoy the MCU or the DCEU.
Okay. Yeah, if the superhero genre's in your wheelhouse, I would lean towards that. If the, spy action genre's more in your wheelhouse, go with James Bond movies.
Gotcha. Cool, man. All right. Give him a watch. Vin, you got some?
I got a little stack. Yep. Again, a lot of stuff in the 70s that I enjoy that I didn't pull, but Taxi Driver, come on, Taxi Driver, fantastic. It flirts with being top 5 Scorsese for me. I'm not sure if it gets in there, but it flirts with it. But Taxi Driver is a fantastic 70s Scorsese film. This film has some of the most powerful scenes I've ever seen in my life, and it's Deer Hunter. Vietnam, a group of friends. It deals with war, suicide, ideology, a lot of crazy things going on in this film, but it is undeniably powerful. There's scenes in this film that if you watch the film, you simply will not ever forget them. So for that reason alone, the Deer Hunter has to be talked about a little bit here. A little bit of love for Deer Hunter. I've got 2 films from Hal Ashby, both of which I really enjoy. Harold and Maude and Being There. Both have Criterion releases. I think they're both very, very 70s. If you know about Harold and Maude, a young kid falls in love with an old lady, pretty much the basic premise, but it has a fantastic score with Cat Stevens in this film. And this one is just another really enjoyable Hal Ashby film that I discovered, I think, last year in a Criterion sale. So these 2 Hal Ashby films I really like. Got a few more. Dustin Hoffman film. I love Mike, as you know, we've streamed together enough. I love films about the family dynamic. And Kramer versus Kramer is fantastic. I really enjoyed this. I've only seen it once, but it's great film about a couple going through a divorce and how that affects the child and the custody and all that stuff. So really, really love Kramer versus Kramer, Meryl Streep, Dustin Hoffman. And last couple, this is one I never hear anybody talk about. Another Dustin Hoffman film, Straight Time. Dustin Hoffman plays a criminal that gets out of jail, and the whole movie is about him trying to just like ride the straight and narrow, but it doesn't quite work out that way. So this is a Dustin Hoffman 70s crime movie that is really fantastic, and you can probably get it on Amazon for like $10.99 or something. So, or maybe even on streaming. Straight Time, very very good 70s film, Dustin Hoffman. And the last couple I have, this one is another Criterion one I picked up, Claudine with James Earl Jones. It's just a very good, this one, maybe more than anything else I've talked about, just drips 70s. It feels so 70s with the wardrobe and the setting and everything. It's essentially about a poverty-stricken African-American family, a single mom with multiple children, and the mother falls in love with the garbage man played by James Earl Jones, and it's about their romance and the struggles that they go through to have their love endure. Yet there's all these kids around, and they're essentially poor. But yeah, very very 70s. And the last one is one of Jack Nicholson's first ever main roles, where he was the lead, and that's Five Easy Pieces. Another Criterion release. This is 1970, just squeaked in, so it kind of feels almost 60s like, but it's a 70s film, 1970, and it's just about this guy with this girlfriend that he takes to visit his family, and he kind of low-key hates his girlfriend, but he brings her anyways to meet his family, and then he falls in love with this other girl, and it's really just Jack Nicholson's coming out movie. I feel he's very 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 good in it. So Five Easy Pieces, if you haven't heard of it. If you like Jack Nicholson, check it out. But yeah, that was a lot, but I have a lot of 70s stuff I enjoy, so that's it.
Man. Seems like some good picks there. I mean, definitely made Straight Time to sound interesting to me, so I added that to the list. And Laren agrees with you, so it looks like he's also seen Straight Time.
Oh, nice.
Would have been high on his list. So yeah, definitely interested in that one. John, never seen Taxi Driver. Yeah, I said definitely check it out. And then yeah, Laren just agrees with you there. Yeah, lots of interesting titles there. I mean, I made a lot of those sound interesting. I don't think I've seen any of those, to be quite honest, but
I know you've seen Being There because I saw your letterbox.
Oh yeah, sorry. You're right. I did see Being There. Didn't love it though, but yeah, I appreciate it more than I actually enjoyed it. But what's the other one? And then Harold and Maude. I've been wanting to watch that, but that's out of print, isn't it? At least on Criterion.
Yeah, that Criterion's out of print.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Great picks, man. Great picks. Anything to add, Mike? Anything you want to? One last thing before we start wrapping it up.
You guys can still hear me, right? Sorry, you were
Yeah.
freezing on my end. Okay, good. I know those were excellent choices from both you guys tonight. Then that pile, I'm just like, oh yeah, that's an awesome movie. But then there were some in there I haven't seen yet, so you definitely put some stuff on my radar. So
For
yeah,
sure.
but great choices from everybody tonight. Excellent.
Yeah, it's always hard coming up with lists like these just because there's like so many great movies. And just to narrow it down to 5 is always such a difficult thing to do. But I mean, we all have our personal favorites, you know, like Grease isn't going to be on anyone's objective best list, but it's definitely, it has a soft place in my heart for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that wraps it up, guys. I don't want to keep you all too long. I know it's kind of getting a little late in some parts of the world. But I want to shout out real quick everyone in the chat. Lauren says thanks for a great stream. Yeah, man, appreciate you hanging out. You know, always love having you here, hanging out with us, and Holland as well. Yeah, you guys are great for, you know, watching the stream and commenting here. And Corey, appreciate you, man. Corey's doing some great streams also on his channel, so you know, definitely check out Corey's interviews and conversations. He has a lot of great guests on all the time. And John, man, thanks for also hanging out. Appreciate you being here, man. On a Tuesday evening, you guys could have been doing anything else, but you decided to hang out with us, so always means a lot. and anyone else who was here earlier or catching on the replay. So definitely appreciate it. But yeah, guys, I mean, that was a lot of fun. Definitely a lot of great movies, a lot of recommendations, a lot of movies I added to the watch list. I'll definitely be watching some of these, and I'll let you guys know what I think, because I always want to watch. Every time I do one of these, I always want to watch at least one or two movies from y'all's lists, and then let you know what I think about them. That's always the fun part as well, is actually watching the movies.
Well, we got like 29 movies from Mike.
I know, right?
Yeah, I try to pick the ones that like I've seen several of them, so like Rocky, the Aliens I've seen. So kind of the ones that stood out to me the most from your list, Vin, honestly, was some of your honorable mentions, like Straight Time, 5 Easy Pieces. Like those are the ones that kind of like, okay, like I haven't really heard of Straight Time. So
Yeah. Well, those
and then,
I was kind of excited to talk about those, but at the same time, they weren't going to beat out Clockwork, Barry Lyndon, Alien. So I had to be like true to like my favorites.
yeah.
But the 70s, it's a deep decade. So I wanted to at least touch on some of those that maybe you guys hadn't heard of.
Yeah, and for sure, Mike also had some, reminded me of some great franchises out there that I really need to get on soon. So that's what I'll do tonight, is I'll pick a movie and start watching. But yeah, guys, I mean, I guess Vin, and just to sign off here, do you want to shout out anything or just say anything real quick?
No, I mean, yeah. Thanks for having me. You guys are pretty much keeping me alive as far as YouTube. Mike, especially between the two of you guys. I got to get back into the in the YouTube game. I'd like to host some more streams. I used to really enjoy doing that, but I kind of fell off a little bit. But thanks to you guys, I'm still out here talking movies and whatnot. But if you want more regular content, follow me on Instagram, Hard Copy Blues on Instagram. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and I linked y'all's channels in the description. So if by any chance someone's watching and that is not familiar with these guys, definitely give them a sub and check out their socials. Very what's the word? Yeah, great dudes. So check them out. And Mike, I know you pretty active on your channel. So anything you want to shout out or anything you got coming up?
For sure. So 2 things I'll point everybody to. You guys love 70s movies, apparently, because you're here. So if you want to see my top 15 ranking of all time for 70s movies, that's on the channel. So go to the channel, find that, search for it, like 70s movies you need in your collection, and you should find it. So I'll point you to that. And then also, we are gearing up for the Meggies, the 4th annual Meggies, the original physical media award show on my channel, happening early January. Voting polls are being released this week, a couple polls every day. So if you haven't voted yet, make sure you vote, because your vote counts there. And we have amazing categories for pretty much everything, all the different boutique labels for the most part, best slipcover and steelbooks, best 4K and Blu-ray for the entire year. So if you haven't voted, please go vote. And then get excited for the show coming up.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, sweet, man. Sounds like a good time. Looking forward to that. But yeah, that's gonna do it, guys. We'll sign off. I don't know if you guys want to stick around just for a minute, just backstage, just to kind of say goodbye properly.
I don't know. After that Black Christmas pool, I don't know if this friendship can continue.
Nah, man, I get you. It's all good. But no, thanks for watching, everybody. And 80s favorite from the 80s coming soon. Hopefully, I'll keep you updated on that. We'll see when that gets around. But thank you guys for watching, and enjoy the rest of your night. And I'll see you guys around. Take care.